What's up, fishes and fishettes? Welcome back to the channel. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that drone shot, because this is where we're gonna be playing today, the Bicycle Casino. And let me tell you something, guys, this is my least favorite casino out here in LA. Why? Because I'm never freaking profitable here. I've never cashed in a cash game. I mean, I've cashed in some tournaments, but never been profitable in cash. And I know of you fishes out there will be like, fish, it's not the casino's fault that you're unprofitable and that you suck at poker. But let me tell you something, it is the casino's fault, all right? Because everybody knows I'm perfect. Everybody knows I don't make mistakes. And so it is the casino's fault. Anyways, for today's video, we're gonna be using the Doug McCusker card protector. It has a picture of Zeus in the front, picture of Zeus in the back. Now, we're gonna be using this because we're gonna be sending Doug some love. We're gonna be sending him some positive vibes. He's been going through some health issues. If you guys don't know, check out this video right here. I'll post it on the link on the description below. That way you guys can check it out, see what he's going through. He's been very open about it, and we're just gonna go on and send him some love, send him a whole bunch of positive vibes. Check out his YouTube channel, subscribe to it, and actually subscribe to mine if you haven't done so already. But anyways, that's enough talking for today. Let's get inside and see what damage we can do, and let's play some freaking poker. For this first hand of the night, we're in middle position looking down at the speed limit, and like a true fish, we go on and bump it up to 15 bucks after 2 players limp. The button calls as well as the 2 limpers, and we're gonna go 4 ways to a flop of 9 ace queen with 2 spades. It checks to me, and I'm gonna go on and throw out a $30 c-bet, to which my opponent on the button folds, the first limper folds, and we just gotta get through 1 more limper to claim victory. But unfortunately, he goes on and calls faster than a Karen asking for a manager at Walmart. When people go on and call that damn quick, it usually means that they're on some sort of a draw. Armed with this kind of knowledge, I plan to fire again on any non-threatening turn. The deuce of clubs on the turn qualifies as non-threatening, so I go on and fire off a milky bet of 60 bucks. My opponent goes on and calls, and we're gonna go heads up to see a 6 of hearts on the river, bringing in the front door flush. My opponent checks again, and I'm not sure if he got there with his flush and is feeling a little trappy by checking to induce me to make a move. But if he had a queen, he already made it very clear that he's not scared of that ace. If he had another pocket pair better than mine, again, he's made it clear he's not folding. And if indeed he does have an ace, he made it super clear that he's going down with the ship with it. If I want to go on and make a move, it's gonna have to be an all-in, since I only have about $170 left in my stack, which is less than a pot-sized bet. But unfortunately, I don't have the testiculars to do that. Not only do I have an itsy bitsy bit of showdown value, but if I go all in, I'm gonna just get called by a better hand. I give up. I go on and I check, and he turns over ace 10. We're gonna go on and lose over $100 on this pot that could have been totally avoided if I hadn't been caught speeding. Nice hand, sir. Now we're on the cutoff looking down at ace queen offsuit. There's been 2 limpers, and once it's action on me, I go on and bump it up to 15 bucks. The small blind calls as well as the 2 limpers, and we go 4 ways to a flop of queen 5-5. It checks to me, and even though there's a paired board, I mean, I do have top pair with top kicker, so I'm just gonna go on and continue my aggression. I go on and fire off a bet of 15 bucks. Our only customer is our opponent under the gun, whose name is Franklin. Shout out to Franklin. He goes on and calls, and we go heads up to see a 3 of hearts on the turn. Franklin checks again, and I go on and bet 30 bucks. And before you guys start twisting your big old ugly fish faces all around, just know that I'm clearly aware that this is a small bet, but let me tell you guys, this is all done with the plan. You see, I'm aware that he doesn't have a strong hand. Maybe some sort of middling, mediocre pocket pair, maybe a weaker queen. I'm not sure, but I'm hoping that this bet size induces him to check raise, and that's exactly what he does, as he takes the bait and repops us to 90 bucks. I'm thinking of what kind of hand he could potentially have that makes sense for him to be repopping me here. If he had aces or kings, he wouldn't have limped pre-flop. If he indeed had a 5, he wouldn't be shoving here. I think that if he had a 5, he'd be shoving on the river rather than the turn, because at this point, there's no real draws that he could potentially have. It doesn't take me long to go all in for 135 bucks, which is only 35 more dollars to him. He goes on and reluctantly makes the call, as there's no way he can fold anymore given the size of the pot. The river's a brick, we show our hand, and we are good. Franklin goes on and mucks before we're able to see his hand, and we're gonna go on and take this pot down, hell freaking yeah. Now we're on the small blind looking down at these black cowboys, which, on a side note, I'm not sure why the hell they're called cowboys if they don't ride cows. They ride horses, so shouldn't they be called horse boys? That's gonna have to be a conversation for another day, because in this hand, Franklin is in middle position, and he goes on and makes it 15 bucks. There's 3 callers down the road, and when it gets action on me, I'm gonna go on and 100% raise this. Jonathan Little said in his poker course that when figuring out how much to raise, a good rule of thumb is to always multiply the last bet times 3, then go on and add up all the money in the pot. And trust me, fishes, that's exactly what I tried to do. But since I'm an idiot that can't do math that quick in my head, I landed on a raise to 80 bucks. That's not exactly a bad raise, but it's not what I was going for. But fortunately, it was good enough to make everybody fold. And we're gonna go on and take these $60 in the pot uncontested. Now this next hand is being brought to you guys by the like button. Hell freaking yeah, go on and smash that like button, make it turn blue, help a brother out. This YouTube algorithm really loves it when people hit that like button. So if you want to annoy somebody else and want to get this content into other fish's ears, just go on and click that like button. Do me a solid. For this next hand of the night, I'm in middle position looking down at a couple of dimes. The under the gun player has put out a $6 straddle, to which my opponent to the right has made the call. I'm not gonna just call this. I go on and repop it to 25 bucks once action gets to me. It folds around to the button who makes the call, and once it gets to our straddling opponent, he decides that 25 bucks is just not gonna be good enough. He goes on and repops it to 70 bucks, which is a little peculiar since he's only leaving himself behind $32. Action is on me, and if I just call this, I'm gonna give the button a damn good price to make this call. I'm gonna basically be giving him an invitation to make this a 3-way pot, which I'm definitely not okay with. I'm basically obligated to 4-bet this, and I land on a bet of $170, which is gonna do the trick as the button folds. Our 3-betting opponent goes on and calls the remainder 32 bucks, and we're gonna go heads up to a full run out of 6, deuce 5, 7, 8. There's no flushes on board, but there are 4 to a straight, which doesn't float my boat in the way that I like my boat to be floated. I go on and show my pocket 10s, and we are good. Hell freaking yeah, we're gonna go on and take this pot down. We're feeling freaking great. For this next hand, I'm on the button looking down at pocket 9s. Our opponent under the gun has made it 10 bucks, and once it folds around to me, I go on and 3-bet this to 35. Under the gun opponent goes on and puts in the remaining 25 bucks, and we're gonna go heads up to see a flop of 8-8 king with 2 hearts. He goes on and checks his option, and I'm gonna go on and fire off a continuation bet of 40 bucks, to which he goes on and calls, and we go heads up to see a 4 on the turn, bringing in the front door flush. If I'm being completely honest here, fishes, I'm a little bit concerned with his call on the flop. I don't block any hearts, and he can easily have a king here. Maybe even a flush that he's been under repping. I'm not sure. I go on and check this one back, and we go heads up to see a 7 of diamonds on the river. He checks one more time, and at this point, it's pretty damn clear that I have the best hand and that I should probably bet for value. But man, sorry to let my beautiful aquatic friends down, man, but my biggest fear here is to be check raised and potentially have to lay down the best hand. I chicken out. I go on and I check. I show my hand, and of course we're good, and I feel like a freaking idiot because I know I could have had at least one more street of value, but it's okay. It's okay, we won, and we're gonna go on and move on to the next one. Now I'm in middle position looking down at ace 10 of hearts. The opponent to my right has limped in, and once it gets around to me, I go on and bump it up to 15 bucks, and our only customer is our limping opponent to our right, and we're gonna go heads up to see a flop of ace 9-3 rainbow. It checks to me, and since I have top pair with a pretty decent kicker, I'm gonna continue my aggression with a bet of 20 bucks, to which my opponent calls, and we go heads up to see a deuce of clubs on the turn, completing the full rainbow. My opponent checks again, and we're gonna go on and fire off another bet of 35 bucks, to which he calls pretty damn quick, and now we're gonna go heads up to see a 5 on the river. He checks for the last time, and now that there's 4 to a straight out there, I'm just gonna give this one up. I go on and I check back, and my opponent turns over ace jack, out kicking me by 1 mother freaking card, and we're gonna go on and lose this one. It's okay though, nice hand, sir. Nice hand. For this next hand of the night, the under the gun player has put out a $6 straddle, and when it's action on me, I'm looking down at king queen offsuit, and that's good enough to bump it up to 20 bucks. Our only customer is our opponent on the button, and we're gonna go heads up to see a glorious freaking flop of queen 9. Hell freaking yeah. Since I have this flop pretty much completely locked up, it's pretty damn hard for my opponent to have anything other than some sort of a draw or some sort of a mediocre pocket pair. I feel that if I check here, it's gonna make my hand look super freaking strong, so I go on and I take a bold line of aggression and fire off a bet of 25 bucks. Our opponent calls and we go heads up to see another mother effing 9 on the turn. Hell freaking yeah, this goes on and fills us up, and since we're first to act, we decide to check. The button checks as well, and we go heads up to see a 5 on the river. I fire off a small bet of 35 bucks in hopes to induce my opponent into taking a stab at it, because the line I took on this hand makes my hand look incredibly weak. I mean, think about it. I bet pre-flop, then I bet out on a paired board, followed by a check, followed by a small lead on the river that looks like a blocker bet. Once again, my opponent goes on and takes the bait and shoves all in for 110 bucks. Boy, I can't call fast enough. I go on and I show my hand, and of course, we are good. I didn't get to see my opponent's hand because he went ahead and folded when he saw my full house. I know that technically he should have shown his hand first since I'm the one who called his all in, but in this situation, I'm not going to make him do that because I know that I had the best hand. Now, I know there's an argument to be made that you can gather up a lot more information if you see your opponent's cards, but in this situation, I didn't want to do that since I had been running hotter than the freaking sun versus this particular opponent, and I didn't want my opponent to feel needled. For this next hand, I'm on the small blind looking down at King 3 of clubs. There's been 5 limpers, and once it gets back around to me, I'm going to go on and make the call for $1. And we're gonna go 6 ways to a flop of 10-4-7 with 2 clubs. I wake up with the flush draw and I'm gonna go on and check my option. I know there's an argument to be made for betting here, but the pot's not even that big. I mean, if I bet and get called and don't hit my flush, I'm gonna be in a bad spot out of position. Middle position player throws out a bet of 5 bucks, the button calls, I call, and we're gonna go 3 ways to see a king on the turn. We've improved to top pair, and now we can go on and take the lead on this one. We donk bet out 20 bucks, and our only caller is our opponent in middle position, and we're gonna go heads up to see a 5 of clubs on the river. Here we are holding the second nuts, and we go on and fire off a bet of 35 bucks for value, to which our opponent calls. We show our hand and we are good. Hell freaking yeah. All right, fishers, we're gonna go on and end this video feeling freaking great. We're gonna go on and cash out for $700 off of a $300 buying, so not too bad. $400 profit, and man, it feels freaking great. As always, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to click that subscribe button if you haven't done so already, and I'll go on and catch you guys on the next one.